Hello, everyone. As you maybe realized, last week was a bit sparse, and I hope you can hear now why, because I've spent the last week kind of upgrading my setup and also parts of my room, including getting a new mic. And let's be honest, the last one wasn't that great. I didn't like it at all. I wasn't satisfied. This one's much better. I at least think so. I hope you agree with me. So there wasn't much time for me to record anything in the meantime, because obviously my setup didn't even exist for the entire week. Anyways, I still want to talk about the project I've been working on and what I want to continue working on. It's called Observer, and I know this is a tutorial channel, kind of. Don't worry, I'm not going to stop making tutorials. This is actually just because this week is just a bit short. I couldn't do anything else yet. I'm going to continue making tutorials and devlogs or videos about my projects. So about the Observer project, it's heavily inspired by liminal spaces and without obviously the backrooms. But I really don't want to make, because I know there are many people that have made backrooms maps before. I really don't want to make this look or feel like a copycat of the backrooms or any other maps. So there are going to be quite some differences on how this place exists, why it exists, and how it interacts with everyone in it. There's going to be a more detailed video next week about how the story kinda is and how the world building works. But more on that next week. I also mentioned I have started with the project already, and I have a little bit of footage I can show you. I actually started off making this kind of a pixelated combat map at first, and it kind of just developed more into this backroom story map. So that's where this pixelated art style kind of comes from. I'm also going to make a tutorial for it that will come out next week as well, which you can watch if you want to make this pixel art or a PS1 style look in your maps, then you can do that too. But for now, I don't even know if I want to keep this in my map yet. I actually lean more towards like a normal or more realistic approach to the project, so it will likely not stay that way. I don't think it will. I mean, you guys can tell me what you like more. I think for the story and the entire feel, more realistic visuals would look much more refreshing, even though a pixelated art style would be quite unique and would create some dynamics you would usually not have. It will probably not be continued. However, I might continue making this a mix of post-process effects, keeping this pixelated filter perhaps. I know this is not classical VHS, but I feel like it could lift up the feeling of the map. I test around a bit and I'll make some, you can expect some votings too. Everything that's visual, I'm happy to like get your feedback, and it will help me a lot increase the quality of the map. Now the original backrooms law and the law of most people are that the backrooms have, or the place has some sort of levels. In the UFN map, very likely I will have something like that. I'm gonna have levels, but my vision of the levels all are equally dangerous, and it's more depending on the state of the environment. But that's very story relevant on why and how exactly. So I'm not going to cover it now. However, I'm trying to pull something off I've never seen anyone else do, which is generating the maps. I know this sounds crazy, but I know exactly. Oh, I have good ideas. Let's say that I have good ideas on how I could make this work. But I'm pretty positive that I can make this work. Okay, so best case scenario, you can walk through my map infinitely, and it's more of like you explore this place, right? I'm going to explain you in a second on what you do exactly there and who you are in the story and everything. But I have made one feature before where I wanted to like underscore this feeling of being completely lost, where once the player turns around and has no eye contact to any of the walls behind him, there's a chance that those walls just change. Meaning, if you travel a bit and then you turn around and everything else, like the entire environment will change. So you have no idea where you're actually going. So my new concept is a bit different. And we'll still try to use this thing of being completely lost, but doing it through scale too. Because I mean, if you can walk through something infinitely, then obviously you get lost at some point if you don't have any methods for navigation. But just because I said I don't know exactly how I'm going to do the levels, don't think that will just be one map where you just walk about. I'm trying to do multiple different kind of location sets, right? I don't want you to like walk through the map and see the same thing 10 times. I mean, that's boring. Still be aware this is like early development stuff, so maybe some things are being changed, maybe some things don't work at all. But I think the core features I'm talking about now are very, very much like possible and likely to be included. Now, I said I don't talk that much about the story, but I will talk a little bit about it, and also the place that is the backrooms in my version. They're not called the backrooms. There are a few names for it. One is Place Zero, or also a magnificent place. So the strongest thing that like separates my story from the original story from the backrooms is why they are there. In the original plot, if you know, the backrooms were kind of created. I mean, willingly or unwillingly, whatever. But they were created, and in my version, they have been there always. Like they always existed, they will always be there. They naturally exist and they will always be there. So they have been discovered. In my version, it's also much harder to even enter this place, and with that, even more harder to even exit this place. So it's not like that anyone can just enter it at any time. It's like actually a really specific and hard process to get into it first and also to leave again, which comes to like the protagonists and everything, right? I mean, if you can enter it that easy and if you can exit that easy, like why are they even in there, right? The reason for it was because there's one company that actually discovered this place and they made use of it, storing assets in there. And they, at some point, they realized they couldn't retrieve the assets anymore, meaning it resulted in a financial scam where people gave them their valuables. They put them into this place, but they couldn't retrieve it anymore. They at least couldn't find them anymore. And now, a few years down, you're part of a specialized team, which task it is to research and explore this place. So you go in there with specialized gear, and as you go deeper, you'll find even more information on how the place actually works and also what the company did in there. So it will actually be an exploration. So the further you travel, the more likely you're going to find new things, new pieces, new story elements. You'll find new levels and new locations. Also, guys, I think it's time to buy some new headphones. I'm still one of those people getting them with the cables, but this is horrible. Like I have to twist it around. I can't hear anything. Anyways, that was everything I wanted to say. That was everything I wanted to share in this video anyways. So rest's gonna be next week. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the idea and what this is gonna be like. If you have ideas, let me know in the comments. I mean, we can kind of talk about this. You can also talk about it in my Discord. I'm going to create a channel where you can make suggestions or theorize about it. So yeah, I hope you liked it and I'll see you next week.